Tonight on the Black Channel. Oh look, the corporate media is cheering on about more symbolic black progress. What could possibly go wrong? The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting superfortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media, and this is the Black Channel. And I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, finally recovering that voice. The Black Authority broadcasting to you live from the only historically black college university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program here, you know there's a lot going on, mass shootings in Colorado and various political chicanery and whatnot. But there was one thing in particular that I saw, one thing in particular that I noticed, and I felt like that really encapsulates so much of what we're seeing right now, and that is an article that was posted on CNN. An article that was posted on CNN that really, in so many ways, says it all. And I did not want this weekend to pass without me dealing with this article. From Nicole Chavez. As you can see from the headline, the 4 largest cities in America will be led by black mayors. I want to read the article here so that you can see what Ms. Chavez has to say about this. It says, when Representative Karen Bass is sworn in as Los Angeles' mayor next month, black people will be leading the 4 largest cities in America. As black mayors continue to win elections this cycle, we are excited that, for the first time, the 4 largest cities, New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, and Houston, are each led by an African American mayor. The African American Mayors Association said on Thursday. Well, there's not a conflict of interest there, huh? Well, they certainly have a vested interest in promoting that, don't they? The article goes on to say Bass, a 6-term congresswoman who represents South and West Los Angeles, will be Los Angeles' first female mayor. She will be sworn in on December 12th. New York City Mayor Eric Adams, a retired New York Police Department captain, took his oath earlier this year. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot was elected in 2019 and is currently running for re-election. Sarcasm mime. Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner has been in office since 2016 and his current term concludes at the end of next year. The 4 of them are members of the Democratic Party. Phyllis Dickerson, CEO of the African American Mayors Association, said black mayors bring a different perspective to public office and can identify not only problems they have experienced, like the need for public housing and food insecurities, but solutions to those issues. She believes having the 4 cities led by black people will have a positive impact locally and nationally. I'm going to come back to that one too, by the way. Quote, when you have the top 4 cities at the table with the administration, I think that the conversation is definitely going to land where it needs to be, Dickerson said. Exactly where does it need to land, Miss Dickerson? When you have the top 4 cities at the table with the administration, she's probably talking about Biden. So his 4 lapdog flunkies with him, the conversation's going to land where it needs to be. The conversation's going to land where, ma'am? I want you all to understand that was one of these vague sentences thrown out there. Well, the conversation will land where it needs to be. We don't need conversation. We need action. We don't need any more talk. Everything these people offer us is symbolic. It's intangible and it's symbolic. So pick up on that. If you agree with what you're hearing here tonight, give me a thumbs up in the chat room and hit the likes button for me, because I'm dead serious about the necessity of this. Dead serious. The article goes on to say there are 7 black women serving as mayors on the nation's largest 100 cities, according to the Center for American Women in Politics at Rutgers University, which tracks the progress of black and other women of color in elected office. They are Lori Lightfoot in Chicago, Sanctuary City, V. Alexander Lyles in Charlotte, North Carolina, London Breed in San Francisco, free money and reparations to transsexuals, Muriel Bowser in Washington, Sanctuary City, and potential reparations for transsexuals, LaToya Cantrell in New Orleans, if WIC vouchers could be mayor, Tashara Jones in St. Louis. Boy, the folks in St. Louis already know about her. Talk about a profane, empty suit. Elaine O'Neill in Durham, North Carolina. Durham is hood, hood, hood. The whole, no offense, Durham, but you know I'm telling the truth. Hood, hood, hood. Goes on to say, but that number will reach 9 with Bass and Philip Goins Brown, who was elected mayor of North Las Vegas. North Las Vegas, that's a major city now? North Las Vegas? All right. We're not reaching, we're stretching. There has been a wave of black women running for office in all levels of recent years. Boy, see how this story turned. Did you see how this story took a turn? We went from talking about black mayors to black women. They're back at it again, Miss Chavez. They're back at it again. There's been a wave of black women running for office in all levels of government in recent years. There were 145 black women who filed or indicated that they were running for Congress in the midterm elections. CAWP told CNN, a record after 130 black women filed to run in the 2020 election. Was Stacey Abrams among those individuals? Yeah, I think Stacey Abrams was among those individuals. How'd that work out? Higher Heights for America, a political action committee that works to elect black progressive women nationwide. Do you see how this article twisted and turned? Boy, they are some demonic bastards in this corporate media, aren't they? See how this article twisted and turned? They started off talking about black mayors and then turn it into, by the way, we want to pit one group up against another. Did you see how she's doing that? CNN, boy, you are some shameless, gutless bastards over there. See how they did that? You see how they did that? You see how they put that turn in there? We started by talking about black people and then turned to say, you know, it's really about women, though. It's really about women. So these black female mayors, they need to really look out for women, and that includes white women. All right, there you go. If you want to know what the twist was going to be, what the turn was going to be, what that swerve was going to be. Well, there it is. There's the swerve. There's that swerve. There it is. Higher Heights, a political action committee that works to elect black progressive women nationwide, applauded Bass's win, saying it signaled a win for representation. Quote, today's long-awaited election results reaffirm the notion that when given the opportunity, black women have the ability and power to lead. No, it means that she won the election. It has nothing to do with her ability or power to lead. That's her ability and power to get elected. That's got nothing to do with leading. Said Glenda Carr, president of the group. Carr said Bass' win was among many wins to be celebrated, but more are needed. A black woman has never been elected as governor, and it's a role that holds incredible power, she said. Quote, if Americans truly want to see advancements in progressive policy and diverse representation in our government, we have to invest in black women running in gubernatorial races. But investing doesn't just mean money. We have to invest our time, energy, and talents if we want to get black women candidates across the finish line. So this is somebody here who is looking for a paycheck, is what they're looking for. There's a whole bunch of individuals out there, and they are political operatives at best, and they are looking for a paycheck. They're just looking for a check. So bring in more money so we can get a check going on over here. Now that I've read for you all the article, and by the way, of course, big thanks to everybody who has contributed to support tonight's program here on PayPal, Cash App, or Super Chat. So thank you very much for your support. We appreciate that. Anthony Richmond and everybody else involved here, thank you very much for that. I got a question for you. Now that I've read the article in its entirety, I have one question for you. What is the condition of black people in these cities that she just named? How are black folk doing in New York? A couple of decades after David Dinkins. Eric Adams is not the first black mayor. A couple of decades after David Dinkins. How are black people in New York City doing? Because I know how the Asian population is doing. I know how the Latino population is doing. I know how the Jewish population is doing. I know how the Italian population is doing. I know how the Irish population is doing. Hell, I know how the Ukrainian population is doing. But I'm wondering, a couple of decades after David Dinkins hit office, what are black people's condition in New York? How about black people's condition in D.C. under Muriel Bow Wow Wowzer? How are black folk doing in D.C. under Muriel Bowser? No pun intended. How are black people doing in D.C. all this time later? How are they doing? Because I know how LGBT is doing in D.C. and I know how illegal aliens are doing in D.C. But how are black people faring in D.C. now? Since Ms. Chavez wants to hold these up as examples to brag about here, how are black people doing in that right now? Asking the question. How are black people doing in Houston, Texas? How are black folk faring in Houston right now? How are we getting along over there off Interstate 45 and MLK? How are we doing in Houston? Because there's a bunch of money and industry coming into Houston, but you would figure after all these years that black people would have a mega rich enclave out of Houston. And that's not what's occurring. That isn't what's happening. How are black folk doing in New Orleans, Miss Cantrell? How are black folk doing in St. Louis, Tashara? How they doing in San Francisco, London Breed, where you have helped, aided, and abetted in the gentrification and ethnic cleansing of black people out of San Francisco? How they doing? She's done everything possible for Asians. That's East Indians and Orientals. She's done everything possible for LGBT. Ain't did a damn thing for black folk except get y'all's asses out of here. Playing no games. Playing no games. Hey, how are black people doing in Chicago? How we doing in Bronzeville? How we doing in Bronzeville, by the way? How we doing on the south side? How we doing on the west side, by the way? In Chicago, after all these years of the drunk Uncle Lightfoot. By the way, how are black folk doing in Chicago? How's it doing right now? How we doing down there around Kennedy King College? Did my prophecy about the Whole Foods being built there, did it come to pass? It's been a minute since I've been able to make my way back up there. It's been a minute. But by the way, how are things looking over there around Kennedy King College now that they built that shopping center with the Whole Foods there? I'm just wondering how it's going. I'm sure it has raised the neighborhood, and that's the case. I had seen a story about them closing Whole Foods over there in that area. I had seen a story about that. So you know what that means, right? How many of you are of a mind that this is the end of it, and now that you got rid of Whole Foods, everything is okay? How many of you are of that mind? Now, how many of you are of a mind that the next investors are simply going to show up with 5 times as much money? How many of you want to wager that this was just the first salvo, but you're up against a relentless, never-ending siege of money that is determined that they're going to knock all that area down? The derelict buildings across the street from that Whole Foods, all this got to go. What you're going to understand what I'm telling you right there, in that area in particular, because that's a nice little thoroughfare through there, what you're going to see is you're going to see a plan, because that's what Chicago is about today. Chicago is about plans. It's no longer enough to just want to do a shopping center. That ain't going to get it. Chicago wants to see a multi-block plan now. They want to see you show up not with $2 or $3 million, but $2 or $3 billion. They want shopping, theaters, luxury condos. So just understand, Whole Foods was just the first shot across the bow. Those of you who live there, you know that whole damn area on that street over there across the street, that's all a bunch of derelict buildings and things, waiting for somebody to come and take that. By the way, where's black people's inheritance in the land? Where's their inheritance in the land? How are black folk doing in Chicago? Now that you got that multi-billion-dollar development going up on the north side, by the way, how much of that are black people in Chicago going to be benefiting and enjoying? Must be a lot, because according to Ms. Chavez, this is a big damn deal, just having a black person elected, and all of your problems have been answered. All of your problems have been answered. If that's all you have to do at that point right there, you got that together, man, you're done. That's it. When they get done with Lincoln Yards, what we gonna have, y'all? When they get done with Lincoln Yards, how much of black folk gonna benefit from that? How much are black people going to benefit from that? You tell me. While all these folks are sitting up here telling you that this symbolism somehow adds up to something for you. That all this symbolic gesture, see, this is what they give us. You don't see articles like this about Asians or Latinos. You know why? Because they ain't trying to keep Asians or Latinos out of the streets. Some folk in the chat room said, Lincoln Yards, where's that? And folks, like I say, some folks are like, wait a minute, what's going on? Look here, Hudson Yards. I was the first person to tell you all about Hudson Yards who didn't live in New York City. I try to keep my finger on the pulse of what's happening with my people around the country, because as the only media apparatus we got, I got to try to stay knowledgeable and educated and informed about these things. So I was talking about Hudson Yards way before anybody outside of New York City was talking about that kind of thing. Then I went up to New York City so I could go film it while they were building it. I've been on top of it from day one because I understood what this meant, and that other cities would follow it. You're now seeing the same type of development happening in Miami. Big shout out to the Kit Kat man, Black First, brother. You are correct. It is a war. To hell with symbolism. Cut the damn check, because they cutting checks all over the place. Big shout out to you there, brother. We appreciate your support. And he's damn right. Folks, for those of you who live around the country, y'all don't understand. See, when you got developments like what Joe Montana did with the new San Francisco Stadium, folks, we ain't talking about millions, we're talking about billions of dollars that take up gigantic tracts of land. They can no longer use the freeways as their excuse to move black people against their will. Now they're bringing in billions of dollars of private development. No wonder they want as many immigrants as they can, because in a lot of their cases, as I explained about film Gentrified, they bring a lot of money with them, as long as they're bringing a bunch of money with them for the purposes of displacing people. Denver, Colorado is a wrap for black. I would say that Denver, Colorado is a wrap for black people, but black folk would have to actually have something in Denver before it could be a wrap for them. So Denver is basically folks are just coming to the realization they never had anything. Legalized marijuana, and that pretty much stamped it out. So Colorado's done. It's been done for a long time. So hell, if you never really got off the ground, so just forget about it. But you're seeing Hudson Yards set off a new trend. So in these major cities now, specifically near waterfronts, you are seeing developments imitating Hudson Yards. And in many of their cases, they're calling themselves yards. So you got Lincoln Yards, you got Miami, was that Miami World Center? In Miami right now, they're working on something called Miami World Center. Basically patterned after the New York's World Trade Center, but they're calling it the Miami World Center. So my folks who live in Miami know about that. Brickell was just the beginning. Brickell was not the end. It's just the beginning. Aston Martin residences, that's not the end. It's just the beginning. They're clearing out whole blocks in downtown Miami now. With the mayor's blessing and the city council's help and blessing, they're clearing out whole blocks. Anybody who has been to downtown Miami, let me go ahead and take a brief aside. We're going to come back to the black mayors here in a moment, because I know we're talking about black mayors. Anybody who's been down there to Miami, so when they don't know, when you get off 95 there at the when you get off 95 there for getting off into Brickell down there, Biscayne, when you're getting off on Biscayne. I had to think of the street there for a moment. When you get off on the Biscayne exit, for folks who don't know, living in Miami, it's really, the traffic is real thick on Biscayne and 2nd Street going down through there. But like if you just make the block and come back around, as soon as you get, what is that, west of Biscayne, ain't no traffic over there. So I mean, it's all the traffic and everything is all concentrated in one small area. And like, it's a 2-lane street. I mean, a 4-lane street. It's just a 4-lane street, basically taking you back up to the freeway. It's a 4-lane street. It's like, for those of you who live in New Orleans, the street that runs in front of the Superdome that takes you straight to the freeway. So when you get off in Miami, you get off there on Biscayne Bay, right in the middle of Brickell and everything. If you make that block and come back around, there's no traffic once you get west of 2nd Street. Oh, they got plans to change all that. Yeah, because, you know, the businesses are a lot older. You can see the differences. All that new construction is east of Biscayne. All the older construction is west of Biscayne. So they want to get rid of all the older, the developers are like, hey, we want to get rid of all this old construction, man. We're trying to get rid of all this old construction over here, because essentially it's just a bunch of 2-lane streets when you get west of Biscayne. Not essentially, it's right when you get past it. My folk in Miami know I'm telling the truth. When you get off the freeway on Biscayne, if you make that block and come back around, There's nothing. Brickell is built up, but everything else is just a bunch of small buildings. There's literally nothing outside of Brickell. They gonna change that. They're gonna change that. That's getting ready to change. For those of you who haven't been in Miami, though, that's getting ready to change. That's all it is. It's not really built out like that, but that's about to change. That's about to change. They've got plans now to take whole blocks and build that out. Whole blocks. So the developers saw what was done in New York with Hudson Yards, and now they're taking it everywhere. You've got a similar project going up in Plano, Texas now. Oh, hell, am I saying too much? I'm going to scare a bunch of people here. Plano, Texas. One of my old stomping grounds. They got a big multi-billion-dollar development they want to have going on over there. For those of you who are unaware, in Chicago, Lincoln Yards, Miami, everybody's trying to have their own version of Hudson Yards now. We ain't talking about multi-million-dollar development. You're talking about multi-billion-dollar development. So for any of you living in San Francisco, San Diego, Houston, Galveston, Austin is bringing in tons of industry now, but at least you're under no illusions there. Birmingham, they just finished that big ass mess that was I-20. I think they finally got that finished going through downtown Birmingham. First you get the freeway done, then you start clearing things out. It's like, okay, the rest of y'all got to go. Now that they finally finished redoing 20 through there, I want to say they're done with it now. It looked like it was all done. We can go down this in the chat room. You're correct, Charleston. Y'all saw I went down there to Charleston. They're building that multi-billion-dollar Lowe's development on the riverfront down there. I got that on video. That's multi-billion-dollar. They're playing no games at all. Hell, was that the little hotel across the street? They had the little hotel across the street. And the name of the hotel, as a matter of fact, was the same name as the building and everything. Let me see, I got it on here. Harbor View Inn. Yeah, I got it on my phone. I took pictures of it. Charleston, South Carolina, the Harbor View Inn. And I'm sitting there with the locals like, they're building this gigantic Lowe's right in front of the Harbor View Inn that is going to be this gigantic wall, something like Game of Thrones. It's like the wall on Game of Thrones. It's going to be blocking the view of the harbor. Can you still call yourself the Harbor View Inn if all the Harbor View Inn gives you is a view of the Lowe's next door? Can you still be the Harbor View Inn if you don't have a view of the harbor? I don't know if they've worked that out yet. I do know that you'll only be able to see a sliver of the harbor from the Harbor View Inn, because now you get an excellent view of the Lowe's building next door. And I can go down the damn list. And I'm seeing black folk are all back up there by Mother Emanuel. Can we just keep it all the way live? When y'all come back around there where the historic buildings are and all that, where the trading post is, where they used to bring the slaves in and stuff, when you're back over there where all that development is and all those restaurants and stuff back there, man, it's mostly white folk over there. That's practically all white folk over there. Yeah, it's some black folk walking around, but they have no inheritance in the land. They have no inheritance in the land. I'm not dissing nothing. They have no inheritance on the land. When you go down, was that Vindu Range? They got no inheritance in the land down there. The Customs House. I was trying to remember the name. The Custom House. The Custom House. For those of you in Charleston, you know what I'm talking about down there at the harbor. The Custom House. In that area there, they got music playing all loud and everything else because I guess they're trying to have a party atmosphere. They're trying to look like New Orleans, but they got no inheritance in the land. In chat room, you're correct. Market Street. You're correct. Market Street. All I'm doing is just telling you all the truth about what's going on there. Everybody's got their own version of these things going on. What they're not doing is telling you, hey, let me talk about that for a moment. East Bay Street. I can go down the list here. Everywhere you go, tell me what your black representation and black leadership has done. They're making plenty of opportunities for everybody else. You see, under Marion Barry in D.C., you had the rise of black contractors. Don Peebles was not the only one. Don will tell you this. I remember I've sat down and talked to Don. He will tell you this. He wasn't the only one. Marion Barry opened up opportunities for a number of different people. Today, you have your black so-called mayors and leadership for the purposes of cutting off opportunities from black people. That's the difference. Under Marion Barry, opportunities were open for us. Hell, I'll even give a little bit of credit here. Y'all are going to fall out. I'll even give a little bit of credit where Andrew Young is concerned in Atlanta. At least when they were working on Hartsfield Jackson and 85 and 285, I'll give a little bit of credit where credit's due. I'll give a little bit. I ain't going to give a whole lot now, damn it. Not going to give a whole damn lot. But like I say, at least at the time, the people were insistent that it had to go a certain way. At least they were consistent that it had to go a certain way. At the time. At the time. And we made progress when that was the agenda. We made progress when that was the agenda. In the chat room for my mods, they can RIP Marion Barry. My mods, they can RIP Marion Barry. We shall never see his like again. We shall never see his like again. Marion Barry made sure he kept the doors open. Real progress was made. Real progress was made under Marion Barry. Maynard Jackson, you know, like I say, I got mixed feelings about Maynard. You notice I don't mention him very much. I ain't gonna sling him under the bus. I've got mixed feelings where Maynard is concerned. So I'm not gonna condemn him. I'm just gonna say, I'm not gonna shoot down what you're saying, but I got mixed feelings where Maynard was concerned. There were some things that could have been done better, okay? Which is easy to say if you're not in the mayor's office, but there are things that could have been done better. So I've got mixed feelings where that's concerned. I like a dude like Marion Barry who leads and administers as if he's only going to have one term in office. Marion Barry ran D.C. as if he only had one term in office. And that he had to get everything done he was going to get done in them 4 years. He ruled it like he was only going to have one term in office. And that's the way you're supposed to do it. That's how you become a transformative figure. If the patient is in dire distress, you need somebody who's going to go in with radical medicine. And that's what Marion Barry did. And they've been hard at work ever since trying to undo everything Marion Barry did. They've been hard at work trying to undo all of it. Sylvester Turner in Houston has been a damn disgrace. He has been a lazy, mealy-mouthed, ass-kissing, boot-licking, backward-stepping embarrassment. He has helped anything and everything in the city of Houston except black people. He's done anything and everything he can do in Houston to help anyone and everyone except black people. He's had a anyone but black policy. And that's a damn shame because from Beyonce to anybody else you want to name, Houston has been carried on black people's shoulders. Houston being a national name has been carried on black people's shoulders. It damn sure ain't been the NFL team. Houston, as a nationally known name, has, let me tell you something. Young people from Louisiana, Missouri, East Texas, they talk about when they talk about going to places, these young folk want to go to a place where they feel like there's other black folk who are going to hold it down for them. So what do they name? If they go if they talk about going east, they talk about going to Atlanta. If they talk about going west, they talk about going to Houston. You see, I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana, so I-20 is a 2.5 hour, 3 hour drive from Shreveport to Dallas. But if them kids have their alternatives, if they have their druthers, they want to go to Houston. They want to go to Houston. So, but that's basically built off of the name that these other folk have done in Houston. It damn sure hasn't been because of the NFL or anything else. It's because of what black folk have done in Houston. That's it. That's it. So Sylvester Turner has made sure that he has maximized opportunities for everybody except black people. He hasn't maximized any opportunities where black folk are concerned. While London Breed is giving free money to transsexuals because Sylvester Turner has been only a little bit further on this side of Bootalazy. He's only been a little bit on this side of them. Just a little bit. He's just, I mean, literally, want to talk about one of those tin pot dictators. One of those tin pot dictators from Africa somewhere. Sylvester Turner even looks like one. He even looks like one. That's a point. In any case, what's the condition of black people in Houston, in Chicago, in New York? Everything that gets built in New York showed me the template and the game plan. It showed me the template and the game plan for what they were going to do everywhere. I took a look at the condition of black folk in New York and realized, man, black folk can't go down there around Hudson Yards, man. Black folk can't go there. They're literally, when I went to New York City, I was like, man, if you ain't got no money, it's not going to work for you. If you don't live in the area, it doesn't work for you. There's literally nothing you can do. If you have no money and you don't live in the area, it doesn't work for you. It doesn't work for you. So when they're talking about all these symbolic gestures such as, well, the 4 largest cities in America are led by black mayors. Folks, let me ask y'all a question. What does Sylvester Turner, quote unquote, lead in the city of Houston? What is he leading? Somebody tell me, what is he leading? What is Lori Lightfoot leading in Chicago? Somebody explain that to me. As a matter of fact, I'm going to turn on the phone lines here in a couple of minutes so you can call me up and explain to me, what exactly are they leading? I want to know, because if they're not actually leading black people to anything, what is the point of saying that these are black mayors? They might as well be white. If they're not actually doing anything that produces anything for black folk, what is Eric Adams leading for black people in New York? In the case of Karen Bass, she's already made it very clear which side her bread is buttered on. She ain't got nothing for black folk, and unapologetic and proud about it. Now, I ain't got nothing for y'all. She is Team Latino, and that is the end of that. So I just have a simple question to ask there. What are they leading among black folk there? What are these folk leading? These are black mayors and they're leading. Okay, what are they leading? I have a simple question about that. What exactly is it that they're leading? What are they leading and where are they leading you to? What exactly is it that you're bragging about here? It's not as if any of these cities are bastions of empowerment for black people. Where's the black power in Houston? Will someone explain to me, where is the black growing power in Houston? We ain't gonna talk about Chicago. We're not even going to discuss Chicago. Where's the black power in New York City? You got some folks hustling and trying to make their way, but you don't have any power. Folks, I'm going to say this, you ain't going to like it. You can't compare Harlem to Chinatown. You can't compare Harlem to Chinatown, and you should be able to. But then again, when you have it being attacked on all sides, including by Columbia University, by the way, something that's not happening in Chinatown, then yeah, you see what's going on there. Where's the black empowerment in Los Angeles? Where is the black empowerment that Karen Bass has represented and is presiding over in Los Angeles? Where is it? What is it? What's it going to be? What does it look like there? What is she actually doing? If you're going to invoke the name London Breed, then you need to tell me, what is London Breed doing for black people? If you're going to say, well, it's a black mayor, what are they doing? What are they doing? What good does it do you to have a black mayor if they are not going to do anything to address the inequities that specifically, distinctly plague black people? What's the point of saying, well, you got a black mayor? And they're not stupid. People, CNN puts out stories like this for the purposes of putting up window dressing, and this is what allows the in denial bootleg media to sit up here and tell you, well, you know, things is getting betters. Things is getting betters. It's coming together for us here's. Anybody who wants to sit up here and be in denial of it. OGK Network, you're absolutely correct. Newark, New Jersey. Newark, New Jersey should be a enclave for black people and empowerment. Shout out Cory Booker. In New York City, Rudy Giuliani came in, cleared out the crime, cleaned up the streets, ran off the smut peddlers, and then cleared the way for real investment there. That's the kind of thing that's supposed to be happening in Newark and Atlanta and Houston. And instead, they put in these black symbolic representatives, and their job is to stall. Let's be very, very clear. Sylvester Turner's job has been to stall. He's been here for the purposes of stalling. He's stalling for time. Jason's stalling for time for what? Stalling for time until they can bring in your replacements. Lori Lightfoot, if you ever saw a disposable candidate, if you ever saw a disposable person, forget a political candidate, just a disposable homo sapien, that'd be Lori Lightfoot. Folks, if that woman disappeared tomorrow, would the city even notice? Would anybody even put out a missing persons report? If Lori Lightfoot vanished tomorrow, poof, would anybody even put out an APB or file a missing persons report? Does she even have any next of kin who would call 911, 411, 311, any 11? Now that sounds funny until you realize, by the way, actually nobody would. That's how inconsequential she is. Okay, then if she's that inconsequential, black folk in Chicago can't name a singular critical project or issue that Lori Lightfoot is spearheading for black people. That black folk are saying, Jason, we got to keep her in office because there's a project we're working on right now that she has been critical and key and instrumental in us pushing forward. Somebody name one. Name one critical key project that Lori Lightfoot is involved in. Because Lincoln Yards, we know that Lori Lightfoot was instrumental in pushing for tax credits, their permits, clearing the land, everything that Lincoln Yards needed. Lori Lightfoot has been putting her Timberland boots all over folk to make sure that gets done. She was at press conferences bragging And you all remember I've mentioned Lincoln Yards before. She was at press conferences bragging that Lincoln Yards is her baby. That they've been working on it for years, but it's under her administration that Lincoln Yards is finally breaking ground. Remember? So somebody tell me, what is it? What is a project like Lincoln Yards or anything even remotely close to that black folk are working on in Chicago? And Jason, Lord, I know she got her issues. You know, she's crass. She is unappealing. She is intoxicated. But Jason, there's a project we're working on, man. This is going to be black folk are coming up off of this. So we supporting her because she's instrumental. If she's not in office, she's really been instrumental in us getting this done. Name one thing that's helping black people that she's instrumental in, that she's necessary in, that she's been spearheading. Show me one, because I can name a number of different things for white folk. I can name a number of different things. I can't name a single equivalent for black people. How about Mayor Adams in New York? They're spending $300 million a year. $300 million a year for illegals in New York City. 300 million. Let me go ahead and show you that article here again for those of you who got here. New York Post. You remember I covered this a few months ago. New York is ready, chomping at the bit, gearing and ready to go to spend almost a third of $1 billion. Heading towards $500 million for non-citizens. So for black folk getting moved out, gentrified out, ethnically cleansed by Columbia University, ain't no money. For illegals, poof, out of nowhere, we can find $250 million. Folks, do y'all know what the ambitious black people of Harlem, East Harlem, Washington Heights, do you know what they could do with a $300 million investment? If you took just 1 year, not even the ongoing expense that they're talking about because they're taking it out of black folks' pockets, do you realize what the ambitious, industrious black folk of North Manhattan could do with $300 million? All right, now some of y'all got a little bit of animosity towards Manhattan up there in New York. I ain't hating on you here. Let's jump on the BQE and cross on over. Let's go ahead and hop on over into Brooklyn. Look here, Flatbush, Utica, Atlantic. Hell, I'll throw Ocean in there. You know, I understand we got a Hasidic thing going on, but I'll throw Ocean up in there. Can you imagine what the ambitious individuals on Flatbush, Utica, Atlantic, could you imagine the Asians running their racist ass hair stores and laundromats? Could you imagine what they could do with a $300 million infusion? I didn't say 3 years worth, just 1 year of what they're planning to give illegals. 1 year. No wonder this is about freezing black folk out, giving us a whole bunch of damn excuses, but then they got a whole bunch of damn money. I can name the blocks, people. I can name the blocks. There's a reason why I've traveled the country as I have. I can name the blocks. I can name them. Think about that for a few moments of what they could do under those circumstances. With those types of resources. If they actually had those types of resources, and by the way, those type of resources with oversight, by the way, I will even say, okay, we can require oversight for it, even with oversight. See, that's the kind of money that they give young white kids. That's the venture capital that they give young white kids. And then they spend half the damn money on office space. They don't even spend it on the product. They spend half the money on office space. Understand, that's what we're dealing with. So when you take a look at these stories, this isn't innocuous. This isn't harmless. They're taking $300 million away from black folk, giving it to illegal aliens. When in reality, if you put that in the black folks' hands, you'd have a renaissance all over the place. That's exactly what they don't want. I'm not even going to bring the Bronx into it. I'm not even going to bring Queens into it. I ain't even going to bring Strong Island or Staten Island into it. I'm not going to bring any of that into it. I'm just going to strictly leave it at Manhattan and Brooklyn. I'm not even going to bring in the others. I'm not even going to bring in the others. Could you imagine what would happen if black folk were in that city were given $300 million of investment? Now, let me go ahead and really blow it up for you. If black folk got 2 years worth, $600 million. If you had that available with black folk with $600 million and the tax credits and giving them access to the locations and whatnot, could you imagine what would happen? Could you imagine? Do you realize how many black entrepreneurs have been shut down in New York City? Think about that for a few moments. My people in New York City, do you know how many black folk, I'm going to go ahead and say it, how many black folk have been shut down, whether they had some bootleg strip clubs, some bootleg shoe shops, some bootleg restaurant or whatever. Do you realize how many black folk have been shut down in New York City? They've given money to Asians to keep their restaurants going, but do you realize how many black folk in New York City have been shut down? Y'all don't understand how many black entrepreneurs in that city have been shut down. Same thing in Houston, the Turkey Leg Hut. And that's just one, because we all talk about the damn Turkey Leg Hut, but there's a number of black businesses in the city of Houston that have been targeted for harassment and persecution. And in Chicago. Because you see, once you have black power brokers, let me tell y'all something. Businesses can do things that government can't. Businesses can do things that governments cannot do. When a business gets strong enough or big enough, that business becomes more powerful than the government. Do you understand that? Now, you're used to thinking about that concept at the level of a Tesla or an Amazon or a Microsoft or an Apple. But let me tell y'all something. That happens on the block too. A business can become large enough that it tells the government what to do. So they have a vested interest in making sure that you don't have that kind of power, starting from the very beginning. So we got black businesses all over. In Los Angeles. Nipsey Hussle was just one. The police were camped out at his place, except the day he got murdered. Wasn't a cop in sight that day. Isn't that interesting? Any other time, police were always swarming and watching the place. But that day in particular, wasn't a cop in sight. What a coincidence, huh? But you tell me, what are the instrumental projects and the instrumental investments that these mayors are doing with black folks? Like, Jason, we got to keep them in office because we're working on a project that these folk have been instrumental in helping us promote. Can anybody name one? Can anybody say what it is? If you can, the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933, your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. I want to thank all of you for joining us here tonight. Thank you to everybody who's contributed to the program on PayPal, CashApp, or Super Chat. I'm opening up the phone lines. I want us to talk about this black-led cities lie. I want us to talk about these black mayors instrumental to black people the way they've been instrumental to Silicon Valley, the way that Sylvester Turner has been instrumental to Exxon, the way that Muriel Bowser and friends were trying to be instrumental to Amazon. Can you show me where they're doing that? We're going to go ahead and take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, we'll take your phone calls and more. Don't go anywhere. This is The Black Channel.
Hey, I'm Marcus. For a while, I walked around with this empty feeling inside. I had a full-time job, but not in the field I wanted to be in. But then I came across this book where it was like the title was just for me. Guide to Being Black in IT. I read the book and the author took me through scenarios and gave me tips. I sat down and read it and it only took an hour. After I got done, I took advice in the book, practiced in the labs, and got certified. Then I literally got up and applied for a position with the company I've been looking at for a while and got the job. Thanks to that book, I worked my job with confidence. If you're looking to get into IT or even in the field, now this is a must-read book. Go to www.beingblackinit.com.
I am black first. I am empowered. I am on code. I am motivated. I am a proud foundational. My name is Maria Sellers, and nothing will come between us. Buy the sci-fi novel, Nothing Will Come Between Us. Order today at Amazon and Google Play. Visit spiritofo1811publishing.com. Our story, our family.
Join 6zeros.net, a forum built to discuss all things relevant to black people. On our forum, a check doesn't mean you're famous. It means your blackness has been verified by our staff.
Sorry, Chad.
We also have premium merchandise with same-day shipping on most orders. And when you're ready for some dope content, check out the 0 Hour blog.
Don't you sign up, post.
I'm having a really good time with you tonight.
I'm having a good time with you too.
Want to go somewhere private? Just for us?
I like that.
Great. Meet me at 6zeros.net. Black owned, black operated.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slaveries and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority, and the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933, your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence. Of course, you are very welcome to give us a call. Thank you to everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program here on PayPal, Cash App, or Super Chat. So, Brenda Starr, thank you very much. Ms. Daly, Red Moon, Sydney, New B1 Media is a lifesaver. I appreciate you as always. And Rhonda, yes, the Holland Tunnel off Canal. Thank you very much for your support. We appreciate that. We're going to go ahead and take a few phone calls here now. We are discussing the lie of black-led cities. Let me go ahead and get caller from area code 773. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes, it's Taran from Chicago, Illinois.
All right, Taran from Chicago. What's on your mind?
From Chicago, Illinois. Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right, Jason. Ever since when Harold Washington passed away in 1987, November of 1987, man, the city of Chicago has been, and the world is crap. You know, you're absolutely right. They putting up all these condos and everything, also in the suburbs in Oak Park, Illinois as well. All on Madison. There's no more housing. It's all condos. So yeah, they forcing us out. Even in Forest Park, Illinois. I used to live in both places.
Yeah, you know,
Oak Park and Forest Park.
Yeah, Oak Park used to be a place where like young black folk went to. And it used to be a folk where young black folk used to go to when they were just starting out on their own and things like that. Over the last 10, 15 years, that's all changed now.
It's absolutely. And, Percy Julian, his house over there at 515 East Avenue, his daughter is they giving her hell. She's trying to turn it into a museum and everything, and Oak Park administration is giving her hell and hot water. Now, they didn't do that for Frank Lloyd Wright or that drunken Hemingway, Yeah, Percy Julian is the brother that made blood plasma and all other things for us as a people. So in the city of Chicago, Mayor Lightfoot, you was absolutely correct. If she left office today, nobody would know anything about her. Okay, and also she hasn't said a freaking thing about addressing us as a people to do anything for us in the west side of Chicago, where I'm from. K-Town Finance off Madison Pulaski, all over there, it's a ghost town, bruh. And also over here in Roseland, it's a ghost town. It's all fucked up.
For now.
That's all I can say about that, Jason.
For now. You saw what Chuck Schumer was saying yesterday. It's like, oh no, we need to bring in non-black people. That's who we need to bring in for that. So black folk, you go get an abortion and we'll go ahead and empty y'all out by any means necessary. And when it's time to bring people in, it'll be folk who are, as long as they're not like you. So yeah, it's a ghost town for now, but that's the whole point. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller code 804. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, yes, Mr. Black. This is Kendall from Richmond, Virginia.
All right, Kendall from Richmond. What's on your mind?
I just want to get. So I want to get a shout out to Marion Barry, and I'm really originally from Detroit, so I'll give shout out to Mayor Coleman A. Young. He kept our city alive, man. He kept black police, blah, blah, blah. But basically, the point I was trying to get to is they're really trying to undermine us by any means necessary. Like any means. And that's it.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. It's the same strategy everywhere. It's not like they're reinventing the wheel. It's the same thing. They cut their teeth in places like New York. How do you get people out in these bureaucratic ways, price them out, bring in industry, stonewall them, starve black folks' economy, feed non-black people's economy? It's slow walking the dog, but they're trying to get it. They've been getting it there. Let me get caller from area code 469. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Thomas calling from Dallas, Texas.
Thomas from Dallas. What's on your mind?
Yeah, Jason. I mean, you're right. I mean, I live right here. I live in Dallas, man, and like you said, in the Plano area, they really building that area up. I mean, you live in it's called the Collin County area, and you got Plano, you got Frisco, you even got McKinney, and man, I mean, you go all over Dallas pretty much, man, and all you see is that type of play move that's going on. And with these so-called black mayors, man, there's no such thing as a black mayor anymore. With what they put in office, man, they already have these guys bought and sold. And with Marion Barry, he wasn't bought and sold, and that's why they couldn't control him. And he didn't care about what they said about him, what they did about him. He was going to help his people, and we don't have that in office anymore. We have people that's already bought and sold coming in, and they're going to do the bidding of white supremacy. Black people doing the bidding of white supremacy is what we have in office today. Same way with your mayors, your governors, your even Barack Obama playbook. That's all it is. Same thing. Bought and sold black people.
And like I say, definitely when you take a look at how they've been building things out and stuff, and they're going to keep going because Plano has just exploded since I was there, 25, 30 years ago.
Right.
And like folk in that area wouldn't even thought of that. Like when I was there, Plano was just a big ass bedroom community. They were building out houses, don't get me wrong. But as far as what they're doing there in Legacy West and all that wasn't even a thought. Right. You had the working professionals who lived in Dallas. They could go ahead and hit the freeway, heading on up into Plano, and that was it. And Allen was the sticks. Allen was nothing. There was nothing in Allen, Texas back in 94, 95, 96. Everybody from there knows that was the sticks. So Plano was just a little suburb, and Allen was the sticks. It took them virtually no time to turn Plano into its own affluent city. Allen now is basically on its way, although it's too small, so traffic is just congested. So I'm like, I guess next stop, Oklahoma. And you have to ask yourself a question. What is your so-called black leadership or black representation doing for you here? What are they doing? What are they spearheading? Because I see plenty going on for everybody else. I don't see anything going on over here. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller area code 267. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Sean out of Philly.
All right, Sean out of Philadelphia, what's on your mind?
So I just wanted to make a point. You referenced how New York they're giving illegal immigrants $300 million a year, basically to set them up. Not giving black folk anything, but they'll give these young white entrepreneurs hundreds of millions of dollars every single year to do nothing but buy real estate. And that's basically the same thing that happened with Sam Bankman-Fried, this new FTX Bitcoin situation, where he literally raised billions of dollars. First thing he did was buy hundreds of million dollars worth of real estate in the Bahamas, and basically it was an entire fraud. And it reminds me of a situation where a few years ago you had SPACs, or special purpose acquisition companies, blank check companies. Basically just, here's a blank check and do what you want and give us the money on the back end, right? They raised about $50 billion a few years ago, but at the same time, black folk can't get anything to do anything with. So I'll leave my plane there.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me get caller from area code 347. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's going on, brothers? Archie of Archie Window Cleaning. I'm trying to figure out.
Okay, Archie, where are you calling from, Archie?
Calling from New York City, the Bronx.
Okay, Archie calling from the Bronx. And what is on your mind?
Just trying to figure what's the solution, because every channel I go to, all we doing is talking, whining, gossiping, but we're not coming to a solution. You understand me?
Okay, Archie.
We need to come up with a plan.
Okay, Archie.
Or something to execute it.
Okay, Archie of Archie's Window Cleaning. Can you actually articulate for us what is the problem? That was a symbol. Stunned silence. Let me try again. Can you articulate for us exactly what is the problem that you think a solution is not being provided for? Can you actually articulate what is the problem?
Oh man, let's see. Where can I start with the problem? What's the problem? I mean, first of all, we got the brother Kanye West trying to do something. We got Kyrie Irving trying to do something, which is starting a spark right now in all of us, because we all connected. We all know what's going on. We all see what's wrong, but no one's really trying to.
But in relation to what you're complaining about now, you said ain't nobody saying no solution. I'll ask again. Can you tell us what is the problem that you say no solution is being presented for, sir?
I'm not even sure what you're trying to say, because I mean, the problem's right here in our face. You mean, what's the solution? We need to come together as one and create our own. We need our own instead of begging these people for something. We need to come up together, get our own. Man. We got people that got money. So what's the problem? Why are we not coming together? Okay. What's the problem? What's going on?
Okay, that's the question that we're asking. You're saying that folks are not presenting solutions. You're saying that we're not presenting solutions to what exactly? Fourth time. What is it that you feel a solution's not being presented to?
I guess this us. We need to come together as one. We telling each other we need to come. We need to stop. We need to start somewhere. We need to start with us. That's the solution. We need to start with us, man. Like, we need to start policing our own. Like, doing for us. We need to start doing something for us. Okay. As a people.
What do you think is the biggest problem facing black people in New York City today?
The biggest problem right now in New York City is these cops. These cops out here.
Okay, you think that the biggest problem facing black people in New York City today is the police department?
Then we got these migrants coming. We got migrants here. I mean, where to start at?
Okay, so the police and the migrants. So you're saying that those are the two biggest issues that are facing us today. All right, fine. I'll take those two in particular. Have we not been speaking on specifically those two issues?
Yes, we've been speaking on it.
Okay, now.
We've been speaking on a lot of issues.
Okay, great. That's wonderful. Now, just so I can have a frame of reference here, because I don't know how long you've been in New York City. How old are you?
I am 35.
Okay, you're 35 years old. So, Archie, what do you think is the, quote, solution to the city government bringing in as many illegal aliens as they can into your city. What do you think the solution to that is?
First of all, they shouldn't have came here in the first place. They didn't even ask us if we wanted these people to come. No disrespect to no one, but that's one right there. My solution is like, I mean, what you do? They shouldn't have been. They're here now, so what you gonna do? I don't feel like the bad guy. I'm telling them, you gotta leave. But we can't afford them, man, because they're gonna start taking our jobs, black folks' jobs, man. That's how it's gonna end up at the end of the day.
Okay, but I'm looking for a solution, brother. So what is the solution to that?
Me too.
I'm asking you, what's the solution to that?
I feel like we need to re-educate ourselves, man. Because we all got the same spirit and one. We all connected. So we need to re-educate ourselves.
Re-educate ourselves how exactly?
Yeah, because our culture is not working. This hip-hop, this calling each other nigga, all this stuff. We got to re-educate ourselves. We ramp. This whole thing got to be ramped. Start canceling these hip-hop brothers. Start canceling certain things. Start canceling, pushing back. That's what we got to do. Instead of talking about, let's do it. Make a date and everybody just do it. Blackout.
So we need to cancel these hip-hop artists. That's the solution. So we need to cancel these hip-hop artists. That's the solution?
That could be a start.
Okay, so if we cancel these hip-hop artists, well, Kanye just got canceled. Isn't that good enough?
Let me say, hip-hop, any negativity coming in our neighborhood, we could handle that. And we could start with hip hop to put it on this world stage. And we could start with them, yeah. Because first of all, they are our mic, they are our mouthpiece. They seem to be our culture. It seems like everybody seems to be following them and imitating these people. So we could start with them. I'm just tired of hearing all that because all they're doing is killing us anyway. They fucking out, baby. This is crazy. Every 5 minutes, I'm getting killed in one of these rap songs. So.
Do you have any children, Archie?
Yes.
How many?
I have 3.
Okay. And all by the same person? Are you married?
No. Married.
Okay. So Archie's got 3 children by 3 different women?
No. Hell no. I'm not a statistic, brother, no.
By 2 different women?
No, by 1.
Okay.
But we haven't gotten married, though.
We haven't gotten married yet. Okay, well.
No.
And what are you teaching your children about how to deal with illegals?
Just the other day, it was so funny. The other day, I told my son, I tried to teach him about God. And then he asked me, God, what's God? I can't see him. And he's trying to equate God with like the Marvel, the Avengers and all that. He wanted to see them. So it was so strange. I told him, just go to sleep. Maybe he'll come to you. That's what happened, Got to teach about spirituality. That's what I'm trying to do. Teach my children about spirituality, man. Look within, do the right thing. Education, peace.
Okay, brother. Well, thank you very much for giving us a call. I think you have helped to illuminate and elucidate us on this very succinctly. Before you called in, we kind of were just, as you were saying, just whining and gossiping and wandering.
Solution, man.
I think now after we've talked to you, the solutions and remedies that we thought we were laying out, I think now we see the inadequacies of what we were saying. And I think you've helped to clarify, where the error of our ways. So I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your evening
whenever
to
you
do
need help
that.
hand, just see my name. I got my email in there. Just hit me. I'm ready for the whatever.
Okay.
I'm just tired of talking. That's all.
I heard that. Well, thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, brother.
All right, brother. Be safe.
Sometimes you hear something so epically stupid, so monumentally moronic that you just sit there in awe, like looking up at Mount Rushmore, like looking at a comet, like staring at the aurora borealis. You're just sitting there like, wow. I may never see anything like this again. I don't even want to say, let him talk, Jason. Let him talk. Jason, you keep cutting folks off. Let him talk, Jason. Okay, well, sometimes you just sit there and it's just like, wow. It's just, that never would have entered my mind. I never would have thought to say that. Ever. Never. Let me just sit here and bask. Archie's window cleaning, brothers and sisters. Let me get called from area code 815. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Okay, try this again here. It's moving slow for some reason. At least it's supposed to be doing something there. I guess not. Caller from area code 815. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Dale calling out of Rockford, Illinois.
All right, Dale, out of where, Illinois?
Rockford.
All right, Rockford, Illinois. What's on your mind?
Hey, I was just trying to see what you thought about Jeffries taking over Nancy Pelosi's spot. No contest. What's behind that?
Okay. Well, you're not going to get anything if you're not a safe Negro or a safe person. You're not going to get anything at all. Nothing at all. They're only going to sit up here and grab people. If it's going to be a non-black person, they're just going to grab somebody they can control. That is it. But you have to understand window dressing. Think about this for a few moments. Because if Nancy Pelosi is going to step down, they're not going to do anything they're not going to put a black person in power like that. So just understand that. So what is it going to be? Take a look at the white men behind him. Take a look at the white men behind him. You're going to put him, quote unquote, in power during a time period that your party has no power. Think about that for a few moments. You're going to put him in power. They just lost their majority in the House. Now you're going to put Jeffries in power when he doesn't have the ability to actually do anything. Think about that for just a few moments.
Yeah.
The only thing he can do is just support the already built-in agenda. So this is an insult. You're putting him in, quote unquote, putting him in a position right after you've lost power. Okay, Jeff, now that we can't do anything, now that you can't actually enact anything, okay, we'll put you can lead things. Yeah, now that it's like driving a car with no gas. All right, Jeffrey, you can lead. Hakeem, you can lead now. You can drive now. Okay, but the car's on the gas. Okay, well, we're going to go get some gas. We're going to go get some gas, Hakeem. Hold on a second. We're going to go get some gas, Hakeem. We're going to go get some gas. We need you to wait here with the car while we go get some gas. What I want you to do is grab the steering wheel, press the accelerator, make some vroom, vroom noises. If anybody comes by, just make it seem like you're revving the car. We go vroom, vroom. We'll be right back. Okay, great. How long will it take for you to get back? We'll be back about 2024. And we're going to come with a truck full of gas. Now, when we come back in 2024, we might need to let somebody else drive. So we can give you a rest. We might need to let somebody else drive so we can give you a rest. Now, does that sound like the more likely scenario? Think about this for a few moments. The Democrats are out of power. You're going to put Hakeem in the seat. They're not going to get anything done in 2 years. If Biden runs for election or re-election, you're going to blame Hakeem for not getting anything done for 2 years and then claim you need to elect somebody else to lead. Think about that for a moment. Yeah. Does that sound like a more likely scenario?
Yeah, but I listen to Jeffrey sometimes, and he kind of pro-black at times, but for the most part.
So was Keith Ellison right before he became the Attorney General of Minnesota. Yeah, he was talking, but back in the early 2000s, brother, I mean, he was talking like the Nation of Islam back then. Right up until you put him in a position where he actually could do something, then it was shuffling his feet. And I mean, about George Floyd, I mean, it's really unfortunate right now. I don't know what I can do. I mean, I'm just the Attorney General. Yeah, it became that. It became that. So just mark my words. Kamala Harris shows you the template that they're using. If you're a Negro that they consider to be dangerous or a problem, what they're going to do is put you in a powerless position where symbolically you can be seen and there's a lot of attention on you, but you can't actually do anything. Name one part of the agenda that he can actually get done right now. Because they had a couple of years they could have done that. Nancy Pelosi made sure nothing happened. So, yeah, of course you're going to put him in position when he can't do anything, just like Kamala Harris. Sure, you can have the vice presidency. Now we're going to sit here and handicap you and kneecap you and everything else to make sure you don't rise. But sure, you can have the vice presidency. First of all, it's a powerless position. And when we get done with you, you won't be leaving it. So they've already got the template in place. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. They already got the template in place, folks. They've already got the template in place. They already got the template in place. The whole idea is that what you do here is now that they're out of power and nothing can get done, come on up here, Hakeem, just like they did with Kamala Harris. Come on, bring your ass on up here. And as soon as you get in position, then they start doing things. Remember Michael Steele when he was chair of the RNC? As soon as you get in that position, they're like, okay, well, sit down. Now we're going to take your ass for a ride. And next thing you know, they're going to start doing things. They're going to start saying, we need to push a legislative agenda. And when you get your ass kicked, they're then going to say that you were not effective as House leader, as party leader. You weren't effective. Next thing you know, in 2 years, it's a down vote. And don't expect any of your black politicians. Do you all think that the Congressional Black Caucus is going to lift a finger for him when the fix goes in? Is there anybody here who thinks the Congressional Black Caucus is going to lift a finger when the fix is in? If you do, you have been paying attention. Call of America code 609. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you call it from?
Emmanuel from Atlantic City, New Jersey.
All right, Emmanuel from Atlantic City, what's on your mind?
I enjoy everything that you basically perceive and how you sit there and explain your people. My only thing is just
okay, brother, it sounds like you're crawling through the attic, hunting down rats or something. So I don't know what you're doing right now, but you got a lot going on.
Hold on, because it's just like I'm working on my Wi-Fi, and honestly, sir, it's just like I appreciate everything that you're doing for us and how you're explaining things to us.
Call of America code 773. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, my name is Bobby. I'm calling from Chicago.
Robbie from Chicago. What's on your mind?
Yes. I was thinking, we're coming up on the 35th year anniversary of Harold Washington's death, and nobody mentioning it in the media, not locally, not nationally or anything. And plus, we just had a lottery for Cook County residents where you get $500 a month tax-free for 2 years, and all the people I know did not get it. And I'm thinking, even the illegals apply for and get it. And I'm thinking most of them probably got it, or the Hispanics. So I'm going to land my plane there.
Thank you for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 323. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good evening, Big Brother Jason. It's Brother Elijah calling out of Brooklyn, New York.
Brother Elijah, what's on your mind?
I got a question for you. You did a, probably before I say it, excellent broadcast yesterday and today. You did a similar broadcast about black mayors. You was teaching us the rise of the black mayors started in the 1970s. My question is this. We had black mayors like Maynard Jackson, the late great Marion Barry, the sister just mentioned, Mr. Washington. They were doing pretty good work for black people, but the black mayors who came after them, they didn't really how do I say follow their footsteps. What was the disconnect? Why did they not follow the footsteps in bringing tangibles to Black people in their respective cities, like the first ones of their generation did.
In the aftermath of the civil rights movement in the 60s, you had a very clear message discipline mapped out and carved out by the greatest, most courageous revolutionaries. Fred Hampton, Stokely Carmichael, H. Rap Brown, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, Dr. King. The message was rock solid. By the time you get done with them, the message was rock solid, so everybody understood what the agenda was, and anything short of that wasn't going to happen. So when you go through this time frame here, everybody knows what needs to be done. So they started getting politicians who at least were trending in that direction. Now we get to the 80s, and here you come with Tom Bradley and some of these other folks. The white folk were like, okay, the dam has broken as far as your Black mayors in major cities and elected leadership. The dam is broken there. What we need to do now is tell Black society who their candidates should be.
Yes,
that's what the agenda became. Now you start to get the Tom Bradleys, and you start to get, not Adrian Fenty, the one who came after him, that weird looking dude. But anyway, or the one who came before him. But you start getting those people. Was it Gray, Mayor Gray in D.C. and David Dinkins, and you start getting that. So they're like, okay, if we can't prevent Black politicians from getting elected, then we can choose and influence the ones who do get elected. We can start setting up a crop of Trojan horses. This is when you start seeing things like the Rhodes Scholars. This is when you start seeing things like Simone Sanders as a high schooler meeting Bill Clinton. And then all these decades later, here she is on network TV and whatnot. That's not accidental. They're not going to put any power behind you or any resources behind you unless you are a known entity that they can rely on. You got to be on their team. You got to be on their team. So the true revolutionaries, they got them cleared out. The partial revolutionaries, they got them cleared out. Now you're left with nothing but party puppets, whose job now is to convince you that the vague generalities that they speak are actually specifically tailored toward you. Now that trick bag language is what you need to vote for. We've come to a point now where the trick bag language isn't working. Stacey Abrams was their proof that's not going to work. So now you see CNN talking about, well, you got some Black mayors, while Chuck Schumer is like, hey, hurry up and open the door and bring in as many illegals as possible. We got to neutralize that Black vote ex post haste. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller Mary code 469. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Big Stomp from Dallas, Texas.
Big Stomp from Dallas. What's on your mind?
Well, excellent broadcast. Politicians go to the highest bidder. They bootlicking and they sell outs. All of them. White, Black, all of them. If you got the money, they got the time. They'll sock it to your pocket like the stock market if you got the money. It's all about having money, power, wealth, power, and influence. Look at Herschel Walker and Warnock. Herschel Walker answered questions. He's against abortion. He's against immigrants. Warnock reflected the whole debate. These guys, the Democrats, they all got the same talking points. They all got the same deflections. What are you bringing? They never tell you what they bringing. They only, want us to. They always deflect. Now, what we need is, like you always tell us, power, influence, wealth. Kanye and Kyrie are going through hell because they said something about a small population of people. But the influence and the power that they have has brought hell on them, because power brings a billionaire to his knees, brings these superstar basketball players straight to their knees with the quickness. Nike and Adidas came against them and came against Kyrie Irving. Well, this man has not done anything wrong. I think he got a lawsuit, but he's not playing the lawsuit role. He's playing okay, I'm going to give them what they want so they get off my ass. Excuse my French. We have to stay on code. The Black Foundation of Black Americans, we've been on code. We're getting stronger. We have to tighten it up, dial it up,
I agree.
Down, consolidate.
Buckle down, consolidate, and everything else. Thank you very much for giving us a call, Big Storm. Let me get caller from area code 310. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is T out of Los Angeles. Jason, how you doing this evening?
Okay, your phone broke up on you. This is who on the line?
Yeah, can you hear me, Jason?
Yes, what is your name?
TG out of Los Angeles.
All right, TG out of Los Angeles. What's on your mind?
Man, Jason, you upset me last night. Last night's broadcast was devastating. Chuck Schumer's there, and he's got the Hispanic dude that replaced Kamala. So that's them giving a strong shout out to California. And
you know what? You're
absolutely
right. I'm sorry that I'm interrupting for just a moment. You're right. Absolutely. That's the guy. I forget his name off the top of my head, but yes, he's the guy who Gavin Newsom chose there to take Kamala's Senate seat. So you're absolutely right. I neglected to mention his name last night, but you're absolutely correct. Go ahead.
Yeah, so they made a obvious shout out to California, and it's getting worse by the day out here. I'm here on the ground. My office is out of Inglewood, and that SoFi Stadium, man, they are throwing concerts at the Forum. They're throwing concerts at SoFi. They are bringing those people in and out. They are changing the way traffic moves. They are adding all new types of infrastructure, and our black people are on the streets. And even with all that going on, I had a conversation with my black coworker. He's 6 years older than me. We're talking to our students. We work for an organization that teaches young folks about technology. And he's going to tell me that black folks shouldn't ask for cash reparations because there'd be a violent white reprisal. I said, what do you think's happening right now? And the students were all for cash reparations until he mentioned the violent reprisal, saying that white people aren't ready for cash reparations. I said, why do we ever ask the thief if they're ready? Have you ever seen a judge look at a thief and say, man, I don't want to send this thief to jail because it might ruin their life? They stole. They got to pay. Jason, it's not looking good in L.A.
And that is treasonous. That is treasonous. About how old is that guy?
40.
You got to understand here, and I'm older than he is. He's got no excuse for that kind of cowardice. But you have to also understand when you boot licking, butt kissing, and ass kissing, that's a guy right there who is scared to death to do anything. And we've always been plagued by his kind. He's the kind of fellow who's like, well, look here, if the white folks is beating my ass, well, how long is they going to beat it? Oh, for 2-3 minutes? Okay, well, then I guess I can take that. As opposed to being in a position where that doesn't happen to you at all. So just remember, brother, and that really offends me that he would say that in front of young people. You see, we as older men, and you are among that number now, when you're talking to the adolescents and the teenagers, we're supposed to be rock solid. We are supposed to be exhibiting the strength and the vigor and the spirit of the warrior class. That's what we're supposed to be doing. He didn't sound like no damn warrior. His strategy ain't gaining anything. Well, y'all shouldn't talk about reparations. Why not? That might upset somebody. Everything we do upsets somebody. Name anything that we're trying to do to benefit or promote ourselves that doesn't upset people, where they don't threaten us. Barack Obama ran for president. They threatened him the whole damn time. There's literally nothing we can do. This guy's, well, look here, if you just keep your head low, man, they out here clipping black folks left and right, keeping their heads low. They clipping them left and right, keeping their heads low. So just understand, in the world of the coward, hiding in the corner is always the strategy. There is no other strategy. Every strategy for him is hiding in the corner. Then you take a look at his life. You see what he's built. You see what he's progressed. You see what he controls. And he's a fellow who doesn't own or control anything. So his answer to everything is going to be, y'all need to just keep it down high. Look, the bootlicking Sambo is alive and well. Plantations don't make Sambos. Fear and cowardice does. Let me say that again for everybody. Plantations don't make Sambos. Fear and cowardice does. And that's the kind of guy right there, when the white folk come to the job, well, hello there, Miss Ann, how you doing there? Can I help you with your bags? And he'll be that's that kind of fella. Remember what I taught you all, there are only two types of black people. Those who recognize that racism exists and fight it, and those who recognize that racism exists and go back to picking the cotton. And you can see which one he is. But in the face of teenagers, in the face of young people, we have got to show them what a warrior class looks like. We embolden them. He's teaching them, well, if you just keep your head low, now you're going to... Who needs a white supremacist when you got clowns like him?
Exactly.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller area code 404. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes, my name is David. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I want to talk about two things, our former mayor and our recent governor's race with Stacey Abrams. Concerning Mayor Maynard Jackson, the former mayor of Atlanta, he has been the best black mayor that we've had. He produced quite a few black millionaires here. He did so well that once his tenure was up, he couldn't even find a job here in Atlanta. He had to move to Chicago and open up a law firm there where they sold municipal bonds. Now, as it relates to Andy Young, he did very little. He was so busy over in Africa making millions over there that he was hardly ever here in Atlanta. So consequently, consequently, when Maynard came back to run after Young left, he realized that Andy Young had given most of what he had done, the accomplishments that he had done, back to the powers that be. So he didn't even run for a second term. So as it relates to Stacey Abrams' election, when she first ran, she actually won that first race. So did Trump. I don't know whether you know it or not, but we still have those old Dominion voting machines. And those voting machines can be tampered. And so Mr. Kemp, if you remember, he would not side with Trump about recounting those votes. And so a month before the election, Mr. Kemp replaced all the voting machines in Coffee County. Now, it said that if those voting machines were bad down there, they were bad throughout Georgia. So again, Stacey wouldn't have won the second time.
How old, brother? How old are you?
I'm 70 years old.
I'm not surprised. Thank you for giving us a call tonight. Yeah. Caller from area code 773. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yo, Jay. Yo, Jay.
Caller from area code 609. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
No, that's more money. First of all, that's check.
How much more money is that?
And I haven't had a traffic section. You're in a traffic section.
I think he's at the check cashing
It's
store.
nothing major. It's just insurance.
That's a party foul.
What?
That's a party foul.
Is he at the strip club, y'all?
You want me to kiss you down there or no?
You want someone there?
Yeah, why not? I really could use the money. Can you do 15 or no?
All right, hold on. Let me get to this.
You got $5?
Walgreens real quick.
What?
Let me get to this Walgreens.
You got $5?
Oh, you gotta go to the ATM?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Are you definitely sure? You're not gonna make me wait?
No, I'm not gonna wait.
All right.
Oh, I hear a transaction going on, y'all. Okay, man. I was waiting to see how this turns out. Sound like they had a transaction going on over there, but all right. All right. Well, we've eavesdropped long enough. It sounded like they had a transaction going on. She's like, come on around the corner here. You got $5? You got $5? Okay. So, I didn't know what was going on, y'all. It is what it is. It is what it is. Caught the brother at the wrong minute. It is what it is. Call Area Code 917. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Brother Black, Sage from Brooklyn. How's everything?
All right, brother. What's on your mind?
I'm good. So, first of all, I want to apologize earlier for the caller from the Bronx that made New York look stupid. I wanted to say this. As we spoke previously on the business, again, I work in city contracts, so I see a lot of money going in and out. And as I spoke to you before on the business, I recently got a promotion. So I'm now at the table seeing different money being divvied out to like different people, such as quote unquote minorities or white, whatever the case is. So the recent meeting that we just had, without getting into too much, specifics, the only minority representation that was there was an East Indian guy. So that's our representative, the East Indian guy. They get awarded specific city contracts they get millions of dollars to do work within New York City, whether it be buildings, whether it be sidewalk, fixing, roadway fixing, all of that. But we're not seeing any of that money. So again, I can't speak for any of those other 4 mayors that you have on the screen, but what Eric Adams is doing, specifically for black people in New York City, absolutely nothing. Not only that, he recently made my commissioner, the company I work for, it's some dude from DR that wasn't even born here. He's from Dominican Republic. He wasn't even born here. He's not even from you, but you gave him the top job in this agency. So again, you asked, what is Eric Adams doing specifically for New York City? For black people, absolutely nothing.
There isn't anything of any consequence that black people are trying to spearhead, anything of any consequence that benefits black people that Eric Adams has a hand in. He's not being an advocate for black people. He's not being an advocate for protecting black people's property, black people's economic progress. He's not doing anything to promote black people. There isn't anything the black folk are working on that he's critical and crucial and key to getting done. Now, if you're a $1 billion developer, he got your back. If you're looking to move out some black folk, he's there for you. For anything else, no. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller from area code 678. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, this is Benito from Atlanta.
Benito from Atlanta. What's on your mind?
Yes, I hope my question isn't too far off a topic, but I was just asking about, sorry about the beeping, hold on. Asking about what your thoughts were on them preparing Michelle for the run. Noticed some activity lately with her not endorsing Biden and also not being involved in endorsing any of the
Michelle Obama. Nobody is endorsing Biden. AOC is not endorsing him. The Democrats understand how weak they are. Nobody is endorsing Biden, so don't read too much into that. Literally nobody. Raphael Warnock is not endorsing Biden in the debate with Herschel Walker. So nobody's endorsing Biden because they understand he's toxic. However, as far as Michelle is concerned, Michelle's not running for nothing. They're just floating that name out there because they're looking to galvanize the black vote, and the only thing they got is Obama. That's it. So take a look at how many races he went around trying to help people and they got beaten. So Michelle's really trying to sell books and her podcast right now. So just remember, it's like Sarah Palin. When she wanted to get a TV deal, what did she say? I'm thinking about running for president. And Lawrence O'Donnell talked about that. He said, Sarah Palin is not running for president. She's already run the numbers. She already understands the headwinds she'd be facing. She's not running for president. She's running for a TV deal. And sure enough, they were pitching a show to Discovery or whatever, the Palins in Alaska or whatever. It was a follow-up to the one that they had done before. So Michelle ain't trying to run for office. Michelle's trying to run for a bigger Spotify check. She's trying to run for something else, but she doesn't want to run for office. You know why? Because Michelle watched what happened to Hillary Clinton. And she doesn't want to have to answer the questions for what her and her husband did. She knows she's not going to be welcome. She knows that. She saw what happened to Kamala Harris. She saw what happened to Hillary Clinton. She don't want that smoke. She knows she's not going to get let off the hook. She is going to pay for all of Obama's sins. She's not going to do that. Now, all they're doing is for attention and publicity. Don't fall for it. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller Mary code 404. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's going on, Jason? This is Leroy from Atlanta.
Leroy from Atlanta. What's on your mind?
I wanted to follow up on what you were saying about Maynard Jackson. The caller was right about one thing about, some of the things Maynard Jackson did. And I'll just give you my point of view of where I think Maynard Jackson went wrong. And it's the Atlanta child murders. I mean, that continued even after Wayne Williams was arrested. So obviously, he wasn't the one that was committing the crime. And if he wasn't doing it alone. But the investigation died when he got locked up. But yet the murders continued. As far as Andy Young, during his watch is when gentrification started taking hold in our neighborhoods here in Atlanta. And, well, you come to Atlanta now, it's 35% black, thanks to him, Kasim Reed, Keisha Lance Bottoms, Shirley Franklin, even Andre Dickens. And all of them are black. I mean, we've had 40, 50 years of black mayors and pretty much ain't got shit but the finger. Pardon my French.
What you have, here's the thing. I'm not going to say you have nothing in Atlanta because that wouldn't be true. However, in the words of Dr. Claude Anderson, in proportional comparative terms, when I take a look at the Westin, the W, the Marriott, the Homewood Suites, when I take a look at all that construction along 285 and 85 that's been happening for the last 10 years, when you take a look at that and then you ask one simple question, if this is supposed to be the Black Mecca, how many of these multi-million-dollar structures are owned by black people? How many of these hotels are a black franchise? The Homewood Suites is a franchise. Who owns that? Is it black folk or is it the Patel family along with everything else? Those are the things to ask ourselves. So what I'm saying is, I don't expect black folk to own everything, but if you have black leadership that is working in the interests of black people in the capital city of that state, you take a look at Jackson, Mississippi, you look at Atlanta, Georgia, you look at Birmingham, Alabama, these are supposed to be your capital cities. This is supposed to be the state's capital. So with that being the case, I'm expecting you got a whole bunch of damn pull. And if I don't see the inequities being corrected and that balance being overcorrected, which is what you need to have true correction, is overcorrection, then I know you bull jiving. I know you're playing around. I'm just saying as Dr. Claude Anderson would say, anything of any consequence. A barber shop is not of consequence. It's of consequence personally, but it's not going to upset the economic balance of the city. If you shut down the Westin downtown, that's going to upset the economic balance of the city. That one structure by itself could do that. I know. I was there on New Year's night, 2021, when they had the sign in the lobby that said that you are taking a risk by coming into this building of contracting COVID, and that if you do, you forfeited your right to sue. I have pictures of that I showed on my other YouTube channel. I got pictures of it. There was a board in the lobby of the Westin when you're getting out the valet to get on the escalator that takes you up there to the hotel lobby desk, the check-in desk. A big sign that said that this is the state of Georgia. This was the state, not the city of Atlanta. This was the state of Georgia who put up that sign to say, we got the Westins back. You all can come here tonight, but you are not going to be able to sue them if anything happens to you. So what I'm saying is,
Yeah,
okay,
well,
now that's what the state is doing for one damn building. That must be a pretty damn important building, huh, brother?
Oh, no doubt. And there's plenty of important buildings. As a matter of fact, Kasim Reed made sure Georgia Pacific and a high-rise in Buckhead didn't pay a water bill that was owed for 17 and 15 years. Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons, destroyed 2 historic black churches that every school in the AU came out of to build the Mercedes-Benz for a second-rate team. And one of the church ladies put what I just said, she said, on them, and they've been that before that. And he screwed us. I bet you he wouldn't have torn down 2 synagogues to build that Mercedes-Benz stadium. I mean, dude, how lame are you to take the same name of a stadium or same sponsorship that's down there in New Orleans? I mean, dude, it's ridiculous. The black mayors we have had have been puppets. The only one that really did anything of remote significance for us is Maynard Jackson. But like I said, when it came to the murders, man, that's where I step off. You know.
Well, like I
But,
say,
yeah,
that's why I tell people I got mixed feelings where Maynard is concerned. I can't really put him up there on the level of Marion. I can't really do that. And my reason for it is because of some of the politics involved. So it's like I got to hold Marion as the gold standard. I got to hold him as the gold standard. I'm not going to put Maynard basically on the level of the Morials. I'm not going to put him down there. I will just say where he's concerned, I kind of got mixed feelings. I meant when I said there were some missed opportunities there that I don't feel necessarily were. So I'm not going to try to denigrate the man too much. Where Andrew Young was concerned, Andrew is actually pretty progressive economically. That wasn't the issue. The issue was he economically progressive. The issue was that economic progressiveness focused on black people. You're doing this. You're doing. He's sitting up here bragging about the damn freeway through downtown, bragging about the airport, and I'm like, okay, how much of that is locked in the hands of black people? Because when you put out these contracts and things, you lock that in the hands of white folk. You go to Hartsfield Jackson, they got a damn Gucci store in there, man. They got a damn Gucci store. Who the hell has a layover in time to go buy a Gucci bag? Apparently enough people that they got a Gucci store in the place. So that's the only point I'm making, is that when you take a look at that objectively, you start to see it's like, okay. So as far as I'm concerned, if you building out an airport, that is malfeasance to sit up here and build out that airport like that. And like when you go over to the rental car complex, for those of you who haven't been to Atlanta like that, if you go over to that rental car complex, you can stand on that bridge that takes you over to the rental car complex and you can see the planes landing. It's like watching cars come down on a freeway. Like on a cloudy day, you can see the planes descending out of the clouds, one after another after another. And what I'm saying is, okay, with that much going on, you need to make sure that this is focused in the hands of black folks. You see, that's how you put together a 25-year plan that builds generational wealth. We're sitting over here complaining about them funneling towards white folk. Let the white folk complain about them funneling towards us. How about we do that instead? Because nobody has an issue with us complaining about the fact that it's funneled. They're like, well, you know, that's what it is. Okay, we're supposed to be doing the same damn thing. And any mayor who is not, as far as I'm concerned, get his ass out of here. You cannot be meek in the service of balancing the scales for black people. You can't be meek about that. Caller from area code 872. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good evening, Brother Jason. This is Grimes from Chicago.
All right, Grimes from Chicago. What's on your mind?
All right, so this thing with Uncle Thunderbird. All right, so evidently, you know, she's not leading us anywhere. She's pretty much messing up. So I can't really expect much from her. You know, she's LGBT, so a lot of times, of course, they're going to push that. That's going to be the number one focus. That, and of course, you know, with her wife being white, interracial sexual access. I wanted to share something that happened a couple of years ago during the COVID lockdown. So this is the type of mayor that we have. So when the lockdown started, and there's this whole thing about stay home, save lives. You got the signs all up and down King Drive reminding everybody, stay home, save lives. She had commercials, stay home and save lives and all that stuff. So on the news, it's who is she pointing that message to? She's on the south and west sides of Chicago, shaking her finger down at all of us saying, stay home and save lives. The only thing with that is black folks weren't out and about like that, like they were trying to portray the story, because Negroes were scared because the media, incited so much fear into everybody. But who was out and about every single day? The people that looked like her white. So, and of course, she's not going to say anything to those type of people. She's just going to continue to shake her finger down at us. And this is the same person that when she ran for office, she said that she was going to fight against injustice, that's been against, those marginalized communities and all that, that type of lingo. And, she used the example of her brother, who unfortunately had been, trapped in the system. He had a record. I don't know what all he's done. But she gave us that line, and I knew it was a chance that it was going to be a lie, and it was, because look at how things played out.
Well, it seems like every time they do that now, with Lori Lightfoot, with Stacey Abrams, every time you're turning around, there's somebody talking about their brothers and stuff or in the system and things like that. So I actually find that to be a bit of a disturbing trend. They're finding these black females, and then their claim to fame is, take a look at somebody else just got elected. I forget who she was. A black female is another one who got elected. Lawrence O'Donnell was talking about her. I think he said his father helped get her father out of prison or whatever. So yeah, I'm finding a disturbing trend of that kind of thing right there. They're finding folk, they people is trapped involved in the system and whatnot. Those are the kind of things kind of make my eyebrows go up. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller area code 804. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi. This is, my name is Cassie, and I'm in Virginia.
Hello, Cassie. We're at in Virginia.
I'm in Henrico.
All right, Cassie in Henrico, what's on your mind?
Well, two things, if you allow me. Our family had a big meeting, and we decided to take the children out of school after this year of education and homeschool them. We've set up everything. We got the piece and everything, because you sparked something. You said something a while back that made me go this path with my family. And that is, you cannot build warriors, and you got the enemy teaching them. You said that.
Certainly sounds like a statement I agree with.
I remember you saying it might not be verbatim, but you said it. Okay, in that meaning. And so we're taking them out. They're going to be homeschooled. We got everything set up, and we're talking to other families about it. And they too, because after the pandemic, we noticed that when the kids went back to school, it was a more hostile environment. It was like, all sit around, this is how we're going to attack now. We're going to attack the kids. Kids come home, they're not happy, they're not being happy to get up in the morning, go to school, and the kids really loved going to school, and then all of a sudden, attitudes change.
Well, it may not have required a pandemic for that to occur, actually, because that's the kind of thing, especially if you're dealing with elementary kids, for example. They start ratcheting up the pressure as time goes on, because the real thing is to discourage them and make them uninterested in school, because who wants to go into a hostile environment every day? Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 832. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's going on, Jason? This is your boy Jared out of Houston, Texas.
All right, Jared out of Houston. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that in the background. Man, look here, man. I live in Houston. I'm going to tell you right now, Sylvester Turner is doing nothing for the black population in Houston. In fact, he's doing a lot of gentrification, but I'm not seeing any that being reciprocated towards the black community. I mean, a lot of the gentrification, like I went into Metro PC the other day, and it's an entire Indian family and nothing but black customers. So we're not getting any of the benefits of all this gentrification that's happening over here. I'm sorry about the background, man.
It sounds like you're running the dog fighting ring.
Now my dog just acting up, man. But over Houston is like, what I would say is that Sylvester Turner does not have black people back, and you can take it from me. The only people I see that getting any benefits off of Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner is actually going to be the black churches. Because, like, if you look at the black neighborhoods, the only thing that look like they're doing well in the black neighborhoods are the black churches. You know, like but you have a bunch of black people in the freaking apartment complex, and across the street you have this well-built freaking church that's like two freaking towers. I mean, you know, like, I'm sorry, man. This dog distracted me.
Yeah, brother, it sounds like you got a lot going on over there right now, so I'm not really sure what's happening, but thank you very much for giving us a call. I hope Michael Vick ain't over there. He got a lot going on right now, so I'm trying to stick with him, but yeah, boy, I'm telling you. They spending Thanksgiving at Michael Vick's house, huh, y'all? Well, you say, this Thanksgiving we will be spending at Michael Vick's house. He already brought him, so I'm sorry, I'm dry snitching. Let me get called Miracle 323. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Jason. Felicia from Los Angeles.
All right, Felicia from Los Angeles. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to tell you what Karen Bass is planning to do for us. She's planning to unite the city of Los Angeles and heal us from the scandals of the LA City Council, and that's what she plans to do for us for 2023.
Oh, yeah, distract and deflect, and don't worry, let's celebrate about me getting in the office, even though she hasn't done, her allegiance is clearly away from black people, so definitely, you make a very good point.
And hope, and we have to heal and move forward, and it's the same story always to black people. Nothing that is going to help the homeless. And then to top it off, our city council, the people running, are extreme, progressive, hardcore liberals with an insane ideology. So Los Angeles is doomed. We don't have anyone who can run a council. They're either racist or they're so extreme that they're going to change everything here in Los Angeles.
They're either
so
racist.
I just wanted to comment on
they're
that.
either racist or sexual deviants. One or the other, so it's like
yeah.
you certainly it's certainly the apocalypse there now. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller mirror code 708. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
GBA. This is James from Chicago.
James from Chicago. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to speak on the subject. Lori Lightfoot is not only not doing anything for the black population in Chicago, she's going out of her way to do everything she can for everybody else. When Chicago was getting like busloads of immigrants coming over here from Texas, not only was she making sure they were put in nice hotels, giving like food and free health care and all of that stuff, despite the fact that Chicago was going through all of this gentrification, she also set up like some type of website where actual Chicagoans can go and donate. And she promoted it, asking people to go to donate so they can get more resources, because they were coming over here at such high rates, such heavy numbers, that they needed resources from the people. So she was actually asking the people, despite the fact that we're through gentrification, she was asking the people to donate for the immigrants. She's not done anything at all for black society. And I'm sure you already know about the Proud Boy cop that got exposed and then she refused to fire him. So I just wanted to piggyback off that. I'm not going to be too long, but
well, I mean, she was shipping out illegals to what was that, Elk Grove or whatever. She was sending. I mean, she's telling, we got into Sanctuary City, and then she was immediately packing them up and sending them elsewhere. So these folks in the North doing that, they're sitting up here advocating for that, but they're not border states. So by the time that the illegals get where they are, it's only a small trickle of them. So they're real easy to sit up here and advocate for that when they're not having to deal with it. The second that they pulled up where they were, all of a sudden, ain't no Sanctuary City anymore. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller mirror code 251. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
All right, this is Thomas from Atmore, Alabama.
All right, Thomas, what's on your mind?
I appreciate your broadcast. What I've been noticing, I grew up in Los Angeles back in the 70s. And I remember the illegal aliens started coming in then, and the politicians made it impossible to get rid of them. And the black politicians were complicit in this back then, and they've been complicit for the last 40 years. And I just cannot stand black politicians because they seem to be rotten to the core sellouts. And they do absolutely nothing for black people, yet we stand in line to vote for them. Like Obama and all the rest of these crooks, Warnock and the rest of them, I just can't stand them.
Well, this is why they selected them. Remember, I told you all here, you can go to a PBS Frontline, The Decision, 2008. They sat there and talked to Tom Daschle. Tom Daschle, who was, he's sitting there, was he majority leader at the time or minority leader in the Senate? He was sitting there saying, we selected Obama. We chose him specifically because, he says it on video. He made no bones about it that they selected him because after 2004, they realized how the Republicans were going to play things. And he said we wanted a candidate that the Republicans couldn't swift boat. So Obama didn't have a long tail. You were going up against Karl Rove. Karl Rove can use your record against you. They chose Obama, a charismatic personality who didn't have a long record to run against. So you essentially had he's a guy who talks like a seasoned politician, but he doesn't have this long track record for you to beat on. So without that, you've disarmed Karl Rove. And that's exactly what they did. But Tom Daschle said it. You all don't have to believe me. It's on PBS's damn website. This isn't some conspiracy theory or Alex Jones or something I'm twisting. It's on PBS Frontline's website. He says it, and that's not the only place. Tom Daschle was proud of that. He was proud to say, hey, we found a way to outmaneuver Karl Rove. We chose a candidate that they couldn't swift boat, specifically because he didn't have a long track record that you could beat on. And he said, all we had to do is if he could catch on, we could make it work. Well, he caught on. So they selected him, but he's not the only one. I'll be damned. They select them everywhere. Eric Adams was selected. Muriel Bowser was selected. Lori Lightfoot selected. London Breed selected. The chick up there in Rochester selected. We can go down the list. You can't be a Democrat in an American city and not be selected. You can't be. It won't work. All of a sudden, you're going to see millions of dollars show up out of nowhere to make sure you don't get any traction. They're going to see millions of dollars show up out of nowhere for whoever is the chosen person. Because they understand you can't give up a bunch of seats like that. You can't give up power and authority like that. You can't do that. So I want you all to understand I can go down the list of people who were selected. Folks, if I don't know what I'm talking about, how in the hell is it that I was correct about these things? When I said Stacey Abrams is not going to win nothing because that's not her purpose. With dumbasses and jackasses on Twitter talking about, hey, you ain't right about that there. And it broke exactly the way I said. That's her job is to her job isn't to win. Her job is to galvanize and mobilize the vote. So that in 2 years, they now have a bigger list of people that they can call on and say, okay, now that she's out the way, come vote for the white politician. I proved it. 2018, she ran and lost. 2020, they called her to essentially run as Biden's head cheerleader, and Biden wins. 2022, she runs again and loses by an even bigger margin. Now, how the hell is it that you give her credit for quote unquote flipping Georgia blue in just 24 months ago, and 24 months later she gets beaten even worse? You've got more black voters. She spent her time doing reverse psychology on black men. You know, if I can get black men to register, black men don't like black women. If I can get the black men to register, well, okay, you got more black men registered now and she loses even more. Well, that's not the point. The point is now that you're registered, y'all need to come back in 2 years and vote for the real candidate. Come back in 2 years and vote for Biden. And then come back in 2 years after that and vote for the white person that we send. Or our hand-picked, newly improved Negro bootlick, but come vote for the white person. If it's going to be governor of Georgia, come vote for the white person that we choose. Because, black folks are just unelectable as governor. It's a shame, but we just can't get it done. You can be mayor of Atlanta, but that governorship in Georgia, man, I just can't get it done. Gary Chambers in Louisiana. I'm sitting here watching the same damn playbook. Jamie Hairston in South Carolina. I want to say South Carolina, Lindsey Graham territory. Same thing. These are Negro individuals who have been selected. You can't raise as much money as Jamie Hairston, Stacey Abrams. You can't raise that kind of money if the party isn't behind you. But the point of those millions of dollars was not to win the election. The point of those millions of dollars was to mobilize the vote, not for black candidates, but white ones. This is a carefully balanced machine that is strictly controlled. Her purpose was to organize and galvanize the vote. Now that you've done that, we'll come back in 24 months. They keep the list of voters. They keep the list of emails. They keep the list of addresses. They keep those things. They keep all that data. We'll check back on them in 2 years. That's her purpose. So these candidates are not out at random. They are specifically chosen, specifically picked. They are well-known quantities. And the problem is now they're losing the ability to win because they're being asked tough questions. What are you going to do specifically for black folk? And the ability to wiggle room out of it is vanishing. They're in a tough spot right now because they're being asked, now, what are you going to do specifically for black folk? And they can't argue their way out of it. Let's be very, very clear. Stacey didn't come up with a single convincing or compelling argument against what we were saying. Not a single one. You know it's true because she kept being asked about it. You know it was a weak area for her because when she went on MSNBC, what was his name, Shelby, they kept asking her about that. So you know this was a weak area because MSNBC don't say a damn thing the Democrats don't tell them to say. They were letting you know we're worried about this. This is a point of contention. We're worried. Even if the point isn't for her to win the governorship, we are worried that this stench is going to rub off on Biden in 2 years. If she reeks this bad, she can maybe sit here and look black folk in the eye and say, I'm black like y'all. Biden can't do that in 2 years. And by the way, y'all, Biden will be 82 in 2 years. He just turned 80. I think our first octogenarian president. He just turned 80. I don't think, at least that's what the media was saying. I don't think Reagan was that old. But think about that for a few moments. Biden will be 82. 82. You're going to need a lot of help to get across that line. You're going to need a lot. But just recognize if I'm wrong about this, or how they're selected and how they're chosen and how they're funded and picked, if I'm wrong about that, how is it that the results keep turning out exactly the way I said it would be? Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller Miracle 269. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Hayru, calling from Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Hayru from Kalamazoo. What's on your mind?
What's on my mind is, I know, obviously, I see that a couple of the concerns obviously have to deal with financial literacy. And, we're talking about a lot of people seeing that they're exhausted with the way that, you're dealing with political theater. One of the things that I think comes about from that is because we don't recognize what industry really runs things. And when we look at what industry runs things, we got to look at, energy in and of itself. A lot of times our people are preoccupied with the industries of music, the industry with music and sports and entertainment. But the reality of it is when you look at energy, you understand that when we control that, that's when we have true viability. That's when you stop and you rid yourself from top-down economics or top-down politics. Because with the energy industry, you're talking about, obviously petroleum-based products, wind, water, solar, things of that nature. When we begin to educate our children based on that, the science-based industry, that's when you get true economic reform. But our problem is, like you said, we're concentrated, on all the other things that don't allow us to concentrate on what's truly important. So what happens is, which I'm glad when I'm looking at your channel or listening to your channel, we're seeing that a lot of our people are focusing on local and state politics because I'm pretty sure you're aware of the statistics. Less than 10% of our people get involved in local and state politics, but yet you got over 50% of us that get involved in national politics. And that's inexcusable because Michigan, what happens in Michigan is not going to happen in California.
Because
what happens in California
because that's where the
Nevada.
glamour is. You got to understand the biggest cameras and the biggest spotlights are national, and the Democrat Party has focused a lot of its firepower and its influence on galvanizing the black vote nationally because we are the national swing vote. Locally, it's not like that. You either got the numbers of a majority or you don't for the most part. You're a near majority or you don't. Black people are only 13% of the population, but we're a critical swing vote nationally. So that's the real thing about that. That's why so much of that focus is on us nationally. So they're like, hey, we at the local level and stuff, we really don't want black folk involved. We want them white Democrats controlling that. Nationally, black people will have no power, but they'll be able to be a swing vote so they can empower us without threatening our power. So that's why so much attention is focused on galvanizing the black vote at the national level. Your Hollywood stars come out. There's a whole lot more money focused on that than is ever focused at the local level because it can be funneled and aimed in a specific strategic manner. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller from area code 559. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Linda. I'm calling from Hanford, California.
All right, Linda, what's on your mind?
I noticed right off the bat when Chuck Schumer was speaking the other day that Alex Padilla was standing right there in his amen corner. Alex Padilla that took Kamala Harris's place was actually the second choice. Karen Bass was a favorite to take her place at one time. And even us here in California was rather surprised when he chose Alex Padilla. But
I wasn't, but okay.
I see why.
I wasn't surprised. Why were you surprised when he chose Padilla? That was a fait accompli. What did you think was going to happen? All that talk about we're going to get a black woman. I'm like, oh, that was never going to happen. So why? Can you explain to me why exactly did that surprise you that he chose Padilla?
Well, I guess I just fell for the BS. I actually just kind of took my eye off the ball because I really wasn't into it that much.
He had done a lot of talk, and there was. This is the kind of thing we have to watch out for in the 21st century. The way they get black people, and particularly the way they get black women, is they play on black women's emotions. They play on these emotions. Well, don't worry, we're going to give a special benefit to you. The men ain't going to get nothing. We got something carved out just for you over here. And that's a divide and conquer tactic. And the white men are sitting there just laughing their asses off because they know what's actually going to occur. And as black men, we are strategic. We're the warrior class. So we recognize when an enemy army is making a strategic move that's actually a head fake. We understand that. So when you had all these females out there talking about, oh, Gavin Newsom needs to get a black woman. It needs to be a black woman to replace Kamala Harris. Black woman, this, that, and the other. Kamala Harris wasn't even demanding that. So we all understood from the beginning what it was going to be there. So all that noise they were making was for the purposes of making you feel like you were involved. But in reality, it was a fait accompli. So it really wasn't a lot to wonder about there. So they've been recycling that playbook in Georgia and in other places. We've got to become more sophisticated. We've got to become far less easily led and easily deceived. That there was no reason for him to do something like that. That's the first issue. There was no reason for Gavin Newsom to do something like that. There was no reason for that because he's already got the black female vote, such as it is. He's already got that locked down. There in California, you're trying to keep the Latinos from going Republican. So in reality, when you think about it, and this is the way they've been moving the whole time. It's not like this is new. The Latinos been moving like this the whole time. There's no reason to throw more crumbs at the black vote. You've already gotten as much out of that as you're going to get, and they're not going to get up and go somewhere else, not as a group. So you have no incentive to give them anything else. You need to go shore. If you got a seat to give, you need to go shore up that Latino vote.
Well, in the last couple of years, I will admit that I have learned an awful lot, from the black media. I too was stuck on MSNBC or CNN and just kind of listening to what they had to say, and I would just take it for granted that that's the way it was. But when I began to listen to the black media, it just really opened my eyes. And I see a lot of places that we have gone wrong. I see how much work we have to do. And I'm also pretty proud of how we're waking up. I see people that are talking about things in a completely different way than they were in the last few years. Even the older people are talking in a different way that I am around, at least, and not just on social media, but in person. They're just waking up, and they see that things just aren't going as they should be going, which was easy to see. But there was that hope there that something would change. But now we see that nothing is going to change unless we make it change. And I'm pretty proud that a lot of us are waking up to that fact and trying to change things and go in a different direction,
Well,
and realizing that we have no friends.
Here's my issue here. How old are you?
I'm 70 years old.
Right. And here's the problem that I have. At 70 years old, the previous 50 years of your voting ability, for the most part, has been directed behind that energy. Here's the problem. You can't do anything in California anymore. I said this a decade ago. The black vote, you got some small pockets of black people in California, and certainly do what you can. But as far as a voting bloc, all of that consistent Democrat Party water carrying has been devastating. The fight's already over. There's nothing to vote.
It is.
There's nothing to vote for. The previous 50 years of consistently supporting their agenda, blind allegiance, divide and conquer tactics. They call it divide and conquer for a reason. They don't call it divide and divide. They call it divide and conquer. Division is the tactic. Conquering is the strategy and end goal. And what I'm saying is they've already achieved it. At this point right now, the numbers are insurmountable. What you would need to have happen in California is basically an explosion of black immigrants and black folk having children, willy-nilly or otherwise, plus a mass exodus of Latinos out of California. That's what you would need to have happen. And that works great in a science fiction novel. That doesn't work in the real world. So what I'm saying is,
no,
folks don't like it when I say this, and no offense, but folks don't like it when I say you got to watch these old niggas, because they'll sit there and...
I'm not offended at all, because I have to watch these old niggas as well.
Right. But up until recently, you were one of them. No offense.
That's true.
But up until recently, because I'm saying they're selling out the future because of short-sightedness and ego and being easily misled and treating politics like it's a team sport, which is what the Democrats have become very good at, because they know there's a lot of black folk who love to do that kind of garbage. Treating politics like it's some kind of entertainment or sport, and this is a team, and I'm wearing my Democrat jersey, and, like it's the Cleveland Browns. And it's not. This is life and death. This is survival. This isn't a football game. And that's the issue that we run into. So right now, I can talk to black folk as individuals in California, but as a group, I've traveled California straight down Interstate 5 from one end to the other. And I can tell you, in the areas in Northern California, that reminds me of Mansfield, Louisiana. It's like the sticks in Louisiana where I'm from. I'm like, there's no black people anywhere. There was a bunch of white folks with their roadside cafes and stuff. And then there was Latinos out there. No black people to be seen anywhere. Didn't see any black folk till I got down around Stockton and Sacramento. Didn't see any black folk till I got there, and then it was only a few of them. Then you get, I had to keep on driving till you get way on down to Los Angeles. Now, of course, we bypassed the Bay, and I understand that. But the Bay can't hold on its own. It can't. And we can't keep living off of the work of the Panthers, because that's gone. So as a group,
that's gone.
The situation was squandered. So that's the problem that I have, is that at this point right now, thank you for waking up, but it's too little too late at this point. It's too little too late. I don't have any good news to give you. It's the time to be making this move was 20 years ago.
20 years ago, I was in Texas.
Well,
so,
there's a story to be told there, too.
I've only been out here for about 20 years.
If you were in Houston, there's a story to be told there, too. So, like I say, it's just one of those things, and I bring this up because there's only so much land you can seed and so much ground you can give up until eventually you run out of options. In California, I think it's a good place for individuals. If your money is straight, I think it's a good place to be in certain areas. But then again, any place is a good place to be when your money is straight. But as far as building a black community and black enclaves, hell, we just recovered Bruce's Beach. Now, let me say one more thing. I am not in any way, shape, form, fashion, or manner saying that black folk in California should necessarily, quote unquote, abandon California. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying that using numbers in politics will not work. Not in California, not anymore. That opportunity was squandered since Bradley.
Yes, it was.
That opportunity has been squandered. It's taken too long. Now you got a bunch of young black folk who changed the conversation. That opportunity has been squandered. You're going to have to focus strictly on the economics. You're going to have to follow the example of the Jews and the Asians. You're going to have to focus strictly on the economics. You do not have the population numbers. You're going to have the socioeconomic numbers, not the population numbers. You don't have it. There isn't enough, quote unquote, political organizing you can do. Now, eventually, under those circumstances, you might be able to establish yourself as a swing vote in certain areas there. In Los Angeles, depending on who's running and whatnot, black folks still constitute that. But just having the ability to vote and you're not voting on any socioeconomic real estate for yourself, that's useless. And that's what's been going on, is voting when you don't own anything. And then you're voting for folks and then hoping that voting for them will somehow symbolically add to you. And there's where the problem comes in. So I thank you very much for, certainly reconsidering things about this. But at this point right now, it's really a back against the wall situation. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. I mean, that's just one more thing to consider in regard to that. It's one more thing to consider because it's not a little thing. It's not a little thing. It's not a little thing when you have that going on. By the way, Joe Biden is the oldest president now. Reagan got elected when he was 69. Biden just turned 80. Reagan got elected when he was 69. Biden just turned 80. Just turned 80. So just understand what we're really dealing with. And just understand what we're really up against. These are serious things here. Shout out to Big Dog in O-Town and everybody else who has contributed to support tonight's program here on PayPal, Cash App, or Super Chat. Thank you very much for your support here. I do this tonight because I want you to understand there's a lot that could have gotten done. And sometimes if you mess around long enough, it really is too late. This myth of power in, quote, black-led cities, that's the issue. You don't need a black-led city. What you need to have is a black agenda, and it needs to be unapologetic, and that's the direction it needs to go in. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here now. I want to thank all of you here for joining us. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to the program. Thank you all for sharing it and everything else. We appreciate that as well. Thank you here to Snaps. Thank you very much. They sent change on that one, so thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'll go buy some bubble gum with those pennies. I want to thank all of you for tuning in here. And if you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the haven of intelligent black thought. We do this every weekend. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time. And if you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, you want to go there and check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m., Gentrified, Race War, all available on DVD and on streaming. Go to blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. I want to thank all of you for joining us here tonight. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future, and the future is the leader.